Good morning. This is old Granddaddy coming at you again. A lot of things I want to talk about, but I'm going to go ahead and finish this story about my uncle in World War II before I forget to do it, because I think it's very worthwhile. Don't know if it, I guess it won't mean near as much to a lot of people as it has to me, but I believe it'll mean something to everybody, especially veterans and patriots and people that really understand what it took to make this country what it is and what it'll take to hold on to it. And last time, I think I left off, I run out of time about them fighting their way through wherever they was at, trying to gather up to get back with their platoon and gather up as many men as they could. Of course, some of them perished on the way down, just like he took the shrapnel in his leg, some of them didn't make it down. But they were going along there, and this one boy that was the captain, of course, he wasn't much rank, but he was a little bit of rank, so he took over, and I told you about the ditches and the way they did the fields there, and I described that terrain so you kind of get a picture of what's going on. And he said these ditches were real deep, real wide. Of course, down in them it was all grown up, and most all of them had water in them to some extent or another, depending on the rain. And he said it was mighty wet over there then. But said they had encountered 2 or 3 skirmishes, and like I said, both sides was mostly just wanting to be somewhere else probably, but they come upon this pretty good size bunch of Germans that kind of ambushed them. They were hiding in those ditches, and they come out on them all at once, and just pretty well shot them all down. And he said that what got him wasn't the German gunfire. It was, I guess, what you'd call friendly fire, but that little old captain, when it first started, he pulled out a grenade and gonna throw that grenade in that ditch where the worst pocket of those Germans was. Well, no doubt he was excited, and he let the grenade come loose too quick. It hit a tree and bounced back and landed pretty close to my uncle. He said that was the last thing he remembered for a good long while was that grenade bouncing off that tree. And he said that he regained some consciousness sometime thereafter. He didn't know how long it was. And said he could see out of one eye a little bit. He figured it was just the mud and the dirt. Had his other eye where he couldn't see out of it, probably just down in the mud. And he said didn't dare move because he could listen and tell, he could see enough out of that one eye. Even though he was about half buried in the mud, he could still see what was going on. And they were walking around, rolling them over, making sure they wasn't taking prisoners. He said it sounded terrible, and it was terrible. He said they wasn't taking prisoners. He said the ones of them they wasn't sure about got the bayonet or got another bullet. And if you'd have known my uncle, you'd have known that every bit of this was 100% factual. He didn't embellish anything, and I was surprised he told this story, because afterwards I talked to Daddy, and Daddy said I never had heard it. He never would talk about none of it. He never would even tell Mom and Daddy nothing about what went on. And he said that's the only, and it was the only time I ever heard him mention it. And we never talked about it again between us, or him, or nobody else. And anyway, he said he could see enough out of that one eye. He just figured his other eye was down in the mud. He couldn't see. He didn't know at the time, but that other eye was gone. Shrapnel from that grenade had come through the back of his head and got his other eye, and he had a lot of damage he wasn't aware of at that time. But he was in and out. But he was conscious enough to realize what was happening and had presence of mind to play dead. He said, of course, it didn't take much play, and all I had to do was just make sure they couldn't see me breathe. He said I just barely was hanging on anyway. And he said it just knew that any second one of them was fixing to finish him off. He said they walked back and forth, punching them and pushing them with their boots, and first one thing and another. And said one of them come up to him and kind of pushed his leg over, his leg that was sticking up out of the mud, and pushed his leg over a little bit. And he said, "'Cause I didn't dare holler or nothing." He said it was kind of like I was there, but I wasn't there. He said I really didn't feel that much pain. He said, "'Cause I just laid there like a sack of taters." And he said in a little bit, somebody gave the signal and they went marching on down the road. And he said they marched on for a little way till they just about got out of here. And he said you could hear them big old boots stomping in that mud, going on down the road. He said they got just about out of here. And then a little bit he heard one of them turn around and come running back. He thought, "Oh Lord, I'm fixing to get it now." He could hear him come running right back up to him. And he just knew that was one of them coming back to finish him off. And said he was looking at him with that one eye. He said, he said, "It ain't no wonder they thought I was dead," because he said, "I all but dead." But he said, "I was conscious and I could see and I could hear a little bit." But he said as soon as he got close enough, he could see that he had some decorations on his uniform. He said, "I don't know what he was, but he was some kind of a sergeant or somebody in charge. He wasn't just a rank and file soldier. He was somebody that had some authority." Said he had more decoration than any rest of them he'd seen there. Said he was a fairly young fella. Said older than he was, but said young. And said he come back and said he knelt down right there beside him. And said he took an apple out of his breast pocket and sliced a big old wedge. Y'all bear with me. It's pretty tough on me. But he said that German officer sliced that apple wedge out. He reached down there with his two fingers and pulled his jaw open and stuck that apple wedge in his mouth. Let his mouth go back shut, touched him on the shoulder, and he jumped up and went running back towards his platoon. And he said they almost thought he come to kill me, and he come to save me. He said I know I wouldn't have never made it if it hadn't been for that piece of apple. Said the best thing I ever had. I was so thirsty. He said that piece of apple saved me. I'm sorry, y'all. I told you I can't control my emotions anymore since I got sick. And I love my uncle. And I want to tell you his name so bad, but he was dear to me. He died several years ago. He's the one I was named after. But he said he knew then that God was still with him. And he said he never tasted a piece of apple or nothing else before or since in his whole life. It was that good. And he said the next thing he knew, he said, I don't know how many days it was or weeks or what it was, but he said the next thing I knew, I woke up in a German prison camp, hospital. And of course they moved him from one place to another. But anyway, I'll try to wrap that story up next time. That was the main part of it, was about how my uncle come through to tell about World War II. I need to get out of here and ask you to give me the signal. I run too long. But sign it off now. We love y'all. Please give us a like and share and come back to see us another time. Thank you.